Hello, my name is Blake Patterson, and welcome to Afro Reviews. Last year, I adapted a presentation I delivered for a class on the importance of foreign films. For this occasion, I am focusing on the importance of the individual voice. This video will involve the debunking of a few fallacies I often see or experience in the film community. Whether it is writing or videoing, young critics become a part of a community they are starting to learn about. By reading or watching the few people in their community, they may feel a lack of confidence in their perspective. The point of this video is to inspire confidence in young critics to stand by their viewpoint. The first subject is about art being subjective. Now, everyone in the film community has met a person who thought art was objective. When you disagree with someone this arrogant, it usually results in an argument about how you are wrong and they are right. At some point, we have experienced this outcome or enacted this attitude. This type of individual derives their anger from a state of insecurity. They feel their argument lacks complexity, so they attack a person for disagreeing with them. When dealing with these people, it is ideal to not let them bother you because you are learning to be open to a different perspective. They might not understand this, but they live in a bubble. However, they might eventually understand how art is subjective. When I wrote about this subject for this video, I felt it was necessary to look back at a time when I made a critical error. Nearly 2 years ago, I reviewed the film Star 80 for the Classic series. A part of the video involves me criticizing Dave Kerr, the film critic, for his view of the film. Here is the clip of my review. Sequences of intensity, Fosse includes effective sound effects that are reminiscent of a Hitchcock thriller. Imagine Bernard Herrmann as a cocaine addict, and that will provide an idea of how shocking the effects are. The visual direction is stylishly artistic without diminishing the movie into a pretentious extravaganza. Dave Kerr argues differently. The film quickly degenerates into a hypocritically artsy interpretation of the standard slasher formula. Kerr's blatant ignorance of the slasher genre displays why his classification of Star 80 is objectively wrong. Star 80 only features 2 deaths, and that is not typical of a slasher film. To be fair, critics love to utilize the slasher genre as a derogatory term for their smug critiques. Oh, wow. This kid is so mean to poor Dave Kerr. What did Dave Kerr ever do to him? Calm down a little, jeez. Facetiousness aside, the reason I remember this part of the review is because my Star 80 review is the most popular video on my channel. My attack on Dave Kerr is one regret I have about this video. To be fair, I rarely revisit my early videos, so do not find it surprising if some have problems. However, I will say this about my perspective on Kerr's opinion. I still think Kerr's perspective on Star 80 is a mischaracterization of the film, but it is his right to express his opinion. Kerr and I disagree about the movie, and this is okay. Since my Star 80 review, I have read many essays and pieces by Kerr, and I thought he was a brilliant critic during his years at publications like the Chicago Reader. Here are 3 unpopular opinions I have on different films or filmmakers. I do not love John Cassavetes' films as much as other people. Yes, A Woman Under the Influence is a brilliant movie, and I also really like Love Streams. However, the other films I have seen by Cassavetes have left me exhausted by his relentlessness as a filmmaker. To Cassavetes' benefit, I thought he was a great actor, and he influenced 2 of the best American filmmakers who ever lived, Robert Altman and Martin Scorsese. As for another unpopular opinion, I think Serial Mom is one of the best comedies ever. I believe it is the funniest satire of the 90s, with Kathleen Turner's greatest performance. Look, I know some of you probably dislike John Waters, but he is one of my heroes. One of the reasons I love Waters is how he can create a subversive comedy where an intelligent commentary is beneath the provocative actions and jokes. I understand if you do not care for his sense of humor, though. The last unpopular opinion I will give is one some of you may not even know about. Anyways, the greatest teen drama of all time is River's Edge. I have loved this movie since I watched it 3 years ago. It is a bleak film about these teenagers who are covering up a murder for their friend. The film is disturbing, but there is a sense of suspense to its making. As the movie unfolds, it is always thrilling due to the stellar direction and performances. It is the best movie about teen apathy and the decadence in these characters' lives. Most people would either suggest Rebel Without a Cause or a John Hughes movie as the best teen drama. However, I stand by my stance on River's Edge as not only the greatest movie about teenagers, but as the best film of the 80s. For a few years since I started film criticism as a hobby, I have occasionally encountered statements like, "You should be more mainstream." To tell a brief story, I was once told by someone how I should have had more action and monster movies on my best list for 2019. Now, let me tell you what my 3 favorite films from 2019 were at the time. The Irishman, Uncut Gems, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. To my fellow peers, were these films not popular in 2019? If I recall correctly, these films are on many best of 2019 lists. However, the person who made this complaint did not know about those films. During this period, I also received a few complaints about how my taste was mainly directed towards art house and foreign films. From the detractors' perspective, they thought it was bad for me to discuss movies like Days of Heaven or Y Tu Mama Tambien. Parts of society seem to categorize art films as if they are automatically pretentious due to the label. If films receive the art house label by an overall consensus, some viewers will criticize people who love these movies and say the defenders are condescending individuals. How is someone smug if they love an art film? It makes no sense to me at all, but they can enjoy the films they love. To finish covering this theme, I should mention how a film critic is not a publicist, but a writer who examines various aspects of the film they are concentrating on. The final theme in this presentation concerns the following quote, "Films do not change, but we do." Occasionally in film criticism, I notice when critics will change their minds on a film, and it is refreshing to witness this. The shift in tone is not due to conformity, but it is by someone who watches the movie again to see how it ages in their mind. It is normal for any person to change their perspective on a film, and I think people should be more honest about it. To mention 2 examples of this, I have frequently discussed how I was moved to tears by Steven Spielberg's AI artificial intelligence on a 3rd viewing. I did not care for it until my 3rd viewing, and I recognized the film as one of the few perfect films of the last 50 years. If you want to learn more about my rediscovery with AI, you can click the link in the description below. Now, my next example for this theme is a controversial choice, but I cannot stand Forrest Gump. Sure, the movie has its detractors, but numerous people hold it as this perfect artifact. If you dislike Forrest Gump, you might as well say you hate America, according to the movie's many fans. My criticisms of Forrest Gump range from the movie's sociological ignorance to its heavy-handed manipulation. I love Tom Hanks very much, but his performance can be laughable for the wrong reasons. The only part I like about this movie now is Gary Sinise's performance. As much as I dislike this movie, I understand why people love it. In conclusion, it is ideal for everyone to find and trust their voice as a film critic. We are all students of film, and we can learn from each other through reviews and viewing more movies. By the way, the 2 people on this slide are Pauline Kael and Andrew Sarris. They are no longer alive, but their criticism may be of interest to you. Thank you for watching this video. Have a great night.